And really, though, you can tell the love with you two. I
Yeah.
feel like when you see pictures of you two together, some people you know, it looks cute, but you like feel the love coming
Oh, he
through.
is my dude for sure, all day. We'll be married 30 years this year.
Oh, wow.
He is
So
my
I would love
favorite.
to know, what do you think is the recipe for a successful marriage then?
Do you really want to know?
I really
I don't
want to know.
Let's talk tails.
To be successful in business, let's face it, you need to be able to make sales. And my guest today is a renowned expert in driving remarkable sales conversions and empowering sales teams to thrive. Since 2010, she has revolutionized businesses and entrepreneurs, enabling them to establish dynamic revenue-generating connections, fill events, and accelerate program enrollments. With an innate ability to streamline sales cycles and facilitate seamless closures, my guest and her exceptional team delivers an unparalleled, done-for-you sales solution that catapults company revenue to unprecedented heights. It's the visionary behind the Tish Times Sales Agency, Tish Times.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Man, that makes me sound like woo.
You are. And when I was coming up in the world and before I had my business, you were like my woo. I was like, oh man, that woman, she is so powerful. Every time she comes to a room, I was like, I want to work with her. So I felt so accomplished when I had the opportunity to work with you. So thank you.
Well, I love working with you always. You know that.
Oh, thank you. So tell me the tale that got you involved in sales. I don't think many of us grow up as little girls and say,
Right.
I'm going to teach people how to sell.
True. Very true. Matter of fact, I was completely opposed to it. I was in the world of staffing when I first got into career and all of these things, and I had a boss who would always kind of draw me into the sales team, and I would always tell her no. I was very happy in my little cubicle, helping people find work, and I was really good at it, and I didn't want to do sales. And for every few months, she would come and ask me, why don't you consider it? I think you'd be really good. Well, what happened is they tricked me. They literally tricked me. They created a position for me called a performance manager. Mm-hmm. And what a performance manager does is I was the liaison between the sales team and the operations team, which it caused me to have to go out on sales calls with the sales team and learn what they did. And every now and then someone would get sick and say, hey, you already know what to do. Go ahead and meet with that client. And before you know it, I started making sales on my own. And fell in love with it because in my mind, I wasn't selling. I was building relationships. I was helping people get what they wanted and became, really successful in that world. And of course, I moved into the sales world and eventually opened my own staffing company. So I didn't choose sales. It kind of chose me. And, many years later, started my own business and here I am today. Basically, that's a long story kind of condensed.
Yes. And one thing that I think is really great that you share is that, you're doing people a disservice when you're not selling.
So true.
And I just think that's so powerful and such a mindset switch that like if you are truly a good person providing solutions, that's how you should approach those sales conversations.
Yes,
right?
For sure. And, I tell clients all the time, you have an obligation to provide people the solution that they're already looking for. Mm. And if they already trust you, and even if they don't know you yet, if you are able to build that trust and also provide that solution for them, why would you not? It's like, and anyone who's been in any of my classes has heard me say this a million times by now. It's like if you had a Band-Aid and you saw a bleeding man on the street, you would not go by them and say, oh my God, I don't want to offend them. I don't want to, I don't want to bother them. You'd say, let me give you the stinking Band-Aid because I know you need my help. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with sales. Help the people that need you. That's what we're here for.
That's excellent. Why do you think though that there's such there's such a scary feeling when it comes to sales? Why do you think people hesitate and feel almost dirty when it comes to sales when they really shouldn't?
Yeah, first of all, society has taught us that. Over the years, television, movies, we always see the salesperson as that slimy, sleazy, no one wants to, be bothered by type of person. But I think we just have to reframe it because if we will take that and realize that I'm a solution provider, I am a server, meaning I help to serve the people that need me the most. It changes the paradigm. I always say salesy is a mindset because there's also a part of us that doesn't want confrontation, right? We don't want rejection. And so we place it in our mind that if I ask this person for business, they're automatically going to think XYZ about me. And I tell my clients all the time, stop putting thought bubbles over other people's heads. You don't know what they're thinking, and you can't think on their behalf, and you can't spend their money on their behalf either. So we can't also assume that they can't afford it and all these other things. It's our responsibility to present the option for them and then let them make the decision, but give them a reason to say yes if you really feel like you can give them the result that you're promising.
What do you think you're seeing as the biggest obstacle for people? Is it having that mindset, that self-confidence? Is it knowing the right language? What are the biggest barriers that you are seeing and you're helping people fight through?
Yeah, I had the best call yesterday, the best coaching call. And we went through all of the things, why are your sales kind of stalled right now? And it was like, well, we had a bad year and, such and such happened in my business and so on and so forth. And finally I was like, okay, let's have a real conversation. Tell me about what's happening in your mind right now. Tell me about, how do you feel about yourself, or what has happened that made you begin to doubt that you can provide the result that you're promising for your clients? Because I think that's the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And I know it because I've been through it myself. There comes a time, I think, in our experience that makes us feel as though, okay, that didn't work and that didn't work. And now you're doubting everything. Mm-hmm. And so you won't sell something if you don't believe that you can provide the solution. You don't feel like you have a offer that you can really articulate, and then you can really provide, you can really deliver all of the things that you're promising. And so I asked her, are you not making the calls? Are you not sending out the messages? Are you not having the conversations because there's a problem with your belief? And I think that there's often a gap in our belief system, because I can't sell something to you that I don't believe myself. Mm-hmm. I don't even care if I can pick up the phone, but I can't convince you to believe something that I don't have the confidence for myself. So I think there's a confidence gap. There's a belief gap. Very seldom is there a ability gap, right? So
now I do believe in the, practice what you preach. That's exactly why I have the Tales with Taylor show now, because I'm like, hey, let's help you produce shows. Mm-hmm. This is how we do it.
Yeah.
We post regularly on our social media accounts because I want to show, look, you can be a busy entrepreneur and still post regularly.
Right.
So I completely agree with that. What are some of your favorite tools that you use for sales? And it could even be whether it's a habit of follow-up or it's an actual physical tool.
Well, follow-up is my favorite thing. Absolutely. Obviously I created a planner to help people to be able to follow up effectively, because I know that's one of the biggest downfalls. When you're networking and you're in the room, you're literally like so excited and you can't wait to, have a second conversation with that person. And somehow, from the moment you walk out of the door to the moment you get in your car, something happens and you just like drop the ball. And lots of people neglect follow-up, and we already know, and you're one of the best at it as well. That follow-up is really where you're going to gain your clients. If you're not willing to follow up persistently, not necessarily aggressively, but persistently, it's one of the biggest, downfalls of most people in business. And I finally decided, because I've been teaching follow-up for so long, and, I use technology for follow-up as well. And so many clients come to me and they don't have the tools for it. And so finally we said, we're going to sell a CRM and make sure that they have the tools, and we can kind of preload them for them so that they can actually get the work done, automated as much as possible, but with some personal touches as well. Definitely. So I think that CRM is an amazing tool, and just making a decision that you're going to be you're going to have a flawless follow-up system and be persistent in the best way.
Yes. No, fortune truly is in the follow-up. I know one of my core rules for myself is if I meet someone at a networking event, 24 hours or less. Exactly. If I don't send something in 24 hours or less, they're going to forget about me.
Without a doubt. And, and it's not that people don't like fall in love with you when they meet you, right? They have a great connection. But the moment they leave, it's like their life happens, right? You fall off of their radar, not because they didn't really mean what they said. It's
15
just that,
emails later,
it's like they got to make dinner for kids. It's like, I'm not in that headspace anymore. So we have to make ourselves at the forefront of their mind. We have to place ourselves there through great follow-up.
Excellent. Yeah. No, it's so important. Fortune truly is in the follow-up. If you take anything else from the rest of this call, just make sure you're following up with people.
Yeah.
And so you've had now 2 different businesses. You said you've had the staffing business and the sales business. For those who are trying to start business on their own, what would be some of your tips?
First of all, get yourself a great coach, because And you may not be able to do it initially up front, from a cost perspective, but you can utilize mentors with the SBA. You can use SCORE. There's help available, because when I first started, I just didn't know what I didn't know. So I flailed for the longest time because I just didn't have the help. I didn't have people to bounce things off of. When I started my business 15 years ago, coaching wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And so there weren't a lot of coaches around, at least not in my area or, on my radar at least. And so I finally got profitable. I finally figured out my systems and everything when I got a coach. So I'd say definitely don't try to do it on your own, and make up your mind that failure is not an option. Because I think there's so many times I know as an entrepreneur, how many times I found myself on like Indeed or Monster.com, like, okay, I'm over this whole entrepreneur thing. I'm ready to go back to work. But at some point I just decided failure is not an option. This is what I believe I'm called to do. I'm called to help change lives through my business. And so if you make up your mind that failure is not an option, then you're going to do everything necessary to ensure that you continue and you help the people that you're called to help.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned now you've had coaching calls, so people can work one-to-one with you. I know you also have your retreat. So how are all the amazing ways that we can work with you?
Yeah. So first of all, the retreats they're now my new favorite thing because we have an intimate space where we bring up 12 women together, and I have them do some pre-work so I know what type of struggles that they're dealing with. So we customize the content specifically for the people who will be in the room. Yeah. We do masterminding sessions so they get things answered in the room. And then we have a lot of fun. We have a massage therapist that comes in. We have a private chef comes in.
I tell you what, those testimonial videos, I've had the pleasure of doing the testimonial videos. Yes. Everyone always says, I'm going to be changing my business. I learned so much. The food.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Of like how excited people get about the food.
Man,
I'm going to be making more of my business from my belly.
Yes, for sure. So the retreats are definitely one way, but I also have what I call my premium sales intensive for people who want to be in a cohort type of environment, or they have small sales teams and they want their sales team to really, be able to get systems and put a plan together and have KPIs, understand how to meet those KPIs. And then we have for people who are not in the city and want to do our online programs, we have the Profit Makers University.
Excellent.
It's an online program where they will have some live coaching, live training, but they also have some online training as well.
And then they can fly in for retreats,
right? They can fly in for retreats. Yeah. We do in-person training as well. So all things sales, that's my heart.
What do you think makes a good salesperson? Even so, if you're looking to build a team, as you mentioned, what would be some of those attributes or, what would you look for in a person to be a good salesperson?
Because I, for years, have hired salespeople from my company as well. And I'm big on confidence, because someone who has confidence in their ability to communicate, to persuade, to negotiate, all of those things, in my opinion, are often higher than the competence. I can teach you the nuts and bolts, but if you don't have the confidence and the ability to communicate, it's very difficult to be able to really have a great sales conversation. So confidence for sure. Discipline. Discipline is important. And when we were in the staffing world, when we were hire people for for sales teams, we would look for people who came from like athletic backgrounds, military, tactical backgrounds, even things like law enforcement, because they tended to be a lot more disciplined. Not to say that, we didn't hire other types of people, but that was definitely on our radar, because people who are in sales have to have a routine. They have to do profit-producing activities, and they have to be self-motivated. And, they have to also be trustworthy. So some of those characteristics tend to come from people from those backgrounds. So those are really important. And once again, I can teach you the ins and outs of sales, but when you come with that confidence, that discipline, that self-motivation, those are the things that really, in my opinion, make an amazing salesperson.
It's so interesting.
What?
All those were soft skills, as they say. I feel like they need to have a different definition.
They do, I know.
Not soft.
Right?
And I have found the same thing. I could teach someone how to use a camera. You can teach people how to edit. You can't teach people passion.
You can't teach them character. You can't teach them integrity. Exactly.
So yeah, it's so interesting to me. And I've had that mind shift in the last last couple of years of growing our business is, you know what? I don't care if you have a PhD in video production.
Right.
If you're not a decent person, if you're
That's
not
it.
reliable, if
Yeah,
you're not,
I'm like, I'm not babysitting. I'm not hand-holding. I need people who are doing it because it's in their heart to do it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. So soft skills are not soft.
Right? They're foundational.
Yes, they are. So sometimes I like to get a little punny in my questions. So what's your favorite animal with a tail?
Dog. Definitely dog. I know you're a cat person, but I'm a dog person for sure.
It's okay. I still love you. I think I'm losing the count, actually. I think I might be. If we're doing a tally on these episodes, I might be losing that now.
Definitely a dog person.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So tell me, what's the favorite tale you've ever read or heard? So your favorite movie or favorite book?
Good gracious. I literally read 2 books at a time every week. So I'm a huge voracious reader.
Okay.
Always,
do you
always.
alternate between the two? I can't do that so much. I'm a one track, get it done.
I'm doing them all at the same time. So
Okay.
I'll tell you, in all honesty, it's 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
So I always have a business book on tap.
Okay.
I always have a spiritual book on tap.
Okay.
And then now I always have a fun book.
Oh,
And that
okay.
only has been in the last 10 years because I was all like, for most of my business career, for sure. And recently I've started to read more fiction and it's been a lot of fun.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to say my favorite book, but there's an author I can tell you I've read everything she's ever written.
Okay.
Her name is Karen Kingsbury. And I read literally anything. If she can put out a comic book and I would read it. I mean, she's my favorite author by far. My favorite movie is Brown Sugar.
Okay.
And-
Familiar.
And, and it's like I have 2, Brown Sugar and Love and Basketball.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I played basketball. It definitely has my heart. And it's just, I'm a big romance, what do you call them? Rom-com kind of girl.
Rom-coms, yeah.
Unfortunately, my husband is not, but we sacrifice on each other's behalf. I watch some sci-fi, so he'll watch some rom-com with me so we can kind of hang out together. But I'm a rom-com girl for sure.
Oh, Roy deals with it.
Yes,
right?
he does.
And really though, you can tell the love with you too. I
Yeah.
feel like when you see pictures of you two together, some people that looks cute, but you like feel the love coming
Oh, he
through.
is my dude for sure, all day.
Mhm.
We'll be married 30 years this year.
Oh wow!
He is
So
my
I would love to
favorite.
know, what do you think is the recipe for a successful marriage then?
Do you really want to know?
I really
I don't
want to know.
I really want to know.
I want to be there with you at 30 years.
So I'll say for us, the recipe for us is really putting God in our marriage.
Okay.
It really has been. And we've been best friends from day one.
I think
For many
that's
people
key,
don't
too.
know that we only knew each other for 2 weeks before we got engaged.
That's intense.
And we got married within 4 months.
Wow. Love at first sight, it feels like.
Absolutely, for sure. I knew he was my husband the second time I saw him.
Oh,
I didn't tell him, but I knew he was my husband
That's
the second
so
time
cute.
I saw him.
rom-com in you
Yeah.
there.
And we have fun together. And we kind of got away from, don't get me wrong, I love gifts, but we got away from like giving gifts to creating experiences together.
So much better.
Yeah.
I personally think it's so much better.
For sure. So even if we do like a staycation or do something here locally, because it's beautiful here.
Arizona's the best for staycations.
we just go do things and go experience things together for the first time. And get in the car and drive or get on a plane and fly. And we just love doing those types of things together.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
You're originally from Texas, so
I
tell me
am.
the tale that got you from Texas to Arizona.
So we are, yes, I am Texas and my husband is from Houston. I'm from El Paso,
Yes.
born and raised there. And we came to came to Phoenix strictly the only reason was to start the ministry.
Oh,
We
wow.
did, yeah.
Okay.
I had no intention on moving. I was not, it wasn't one of those things I'm like, one day I'm going to move and run my business from Phoenix. Not at all. It was literally God called us here and we came here to start the ministry. And I had to it was a great experience for me from a growth perspective though, because I was very comfortable in El Paso. I knew everyone, had clients up the wazoo because, I knew
You've
everyone
been there
there.
for so long. Yeah, you had the structure, you
Yeah.
had the support.
And then,
So was there anyone here in Arizona?
None. We sold everything and moved here not knowing a soul.
Wow.
And I take that back. We had one couple that we knew from Texas from years ago who lived here, but they live out here. They live in Chandler. We're in Buckeye. So, we still don't see them very often. But yeah, we didn't know anyone in our area and we started from scratch. But what I had to do is I had to figure out how to grow a business in a strange land,
Yeah.
and learn how to get out there and network when I didn't, network was my comfort zone there because once again, everyone knew me and I knew everyone.
When you walk into a room and you know at least one or two people, it's just your confidence level goes up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to start networking and getting comfortable and getting out of my own comfort zone. And many people assume I'm an extrovert. I am not an extrovert. I'm an introvert. And so my happy place is in my room with a book. Yes. And, you know, standing in that room and everything in me would go, just go home. You know, I'd get to pull up to an event and I'm like, you know, before I got out of the car, you know what, I could just, you know, we could just go hang out at the Barnes and Noble. And, you know, I would have to make myself get in those rooms and really find out how to, you know, interact with people in a way that felt really genuine to me, but was still good for my business, right? It means I had to go meet a lot of people, but I feel like it was kind of a trick. I was pushed into this place so that I could thrive and I could really, you know, get out of my own way. So,
and now you command a room when you walk in.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you truly do. Like, you know, we have the pleasure of working with each other through NABO, not just with your business, but through organizations.
Exactly.
And yeah, when you walk into a room, it's like, oh, it's Tish. Like everyone, you just like flock and you just feel the positive energy.
Wow,
so,
that's amazing.
So whatever you did to get out of that comfort zone, your comfort zone's in a different space now, I think.
You know, I would literally walk through Fry's, the grocery store here, and I would make myself say, you got to talk to 3 people. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's like that, you know. It's not so hard for me anymore, but there was definitely a time where I was like, I've got to practice this. I have to get more comfortable talking to strangers and people that don't know me, you know. Even if I was in El Paso, I may not know them directly, but they would normally go, I've heard of you or I've seen you, you know, somewhere else. And so it was my growth moment, and I'm so grateful for it now.
Yeah. Well, moving to where you know nobody can be a little scary. That was my boat. I had my kitty cat in my passenger seat, and you know, we figured it all out from there. And so that's where people need to not be afraid to, you know, try new things.
For sure. And you are the same. You walk into a room and everyone knows you and everybody loves you. And it's so amazing. And I don't know if you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert.
No, to be honest, I'm just on your vote.
Really?
I'm right there. I'm not an extrovert whatsoever.
And I wouldn't have known
my
that
happy
either.
place is just at home. I'm more of a small group. So like my best friends are from 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Playing cards together, that's a perfect night.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like just something small and, you know, quiet and doing things together, nothing too outrageous.
Right.
You know, that takes the energy out.
Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you, for sure.
Yeah. So I know, but both of us, though, I feel, you know, you learn when to come out. Yeah. And it's about presenting and helping. And I think that's my biggest thing, that when I'm in NABO, I'm kind of coming in from like a helping part in that I want to provide photography or videography or just be a resource and say you should talk to so-and-so. And I think that makes it easier to go into.
Without a doubt. And it's interesting because, you know, walking into a room makes me a little nervous, even sometimes now. But interestingly, standing on a stage and knowing that I'm there to help people, it's like heaven. It's like everything. You know, I not only shine there, but I feel most comfortable there, which is really surprising. Doesn't mean I don't get nervous. Doesn't mean it's, you know, it's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely a difference because I know I'm there to help someone. Yeah. It's a big difference.
I've heard a lot of speakers say that. Yeah. There's a lot of people whom we work with that when they get on camera, if I was just on a stage, I'd feel so much better.
Exactly.
On the camera.
And I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I should create a small audience so I can do these videos because just standing in front of a video, I'm like, God, why is this so hard? And it is. For a lot of us, it's really hard just to talk into a camera, but an audience, all day.
Visualize. Just got to visualize your favorite clients that you love working with. I used to say that to people when they get nervous looking at a camera.
That's such a good idea.
Like, it's just visualize. You just only have one eye on you right now, but they are looking at you. And you know, so visualize your favorite people when you look at that lens.
I'm going to like put their pictures on the wall behind the camera. That's what I'm going to do. I need something.
Fan club in there,
we go. I'm going to do that.
That'd be perfect. So tell me, is there a tale you wish you would have told your younger self? Or a tale you wish you would have told yourself sooner? For
sure. Absolutely. You know, I mentioned earlier that, you know, confidence is like a superpower for salespeople. But I had so little of it growing up. And you've probably heard me tell a little bit of my story that, you know, I didn't see myself as valued as as beautiful, as important, and all those things growing up. Because of that, I married the first guy who told me that he loved me, and it was not my amazing current husband, by the way. He always says, make sure they know it wasn't me.
Right.
But I got married to a very abusive person right out of high school.
I was definitely not.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thought I'd throw that out there too. Since I know.
Yeah, just to be clear, I was married in that relationship for 4 years. And when I think back, I'm like, I wish I would have. I wish someone would have told me, or I would have told myself, that I was enough, that I was beautiful, that I was valued, that I had more to bring to the table than what I believed at that time. And I wish that I would have had more confidence, and just saw myself differently, because I wouldn't have tolerated the behavior that I tolerated all through school and, even through high school. And I think that although it was difficult and it was terrible, matter of fact, I'm going to speak on a stage with the Texas Council on Family Violence next month about that story. And the thing that I'll be sharing is that, as difficult as it was, and people have a hard time hearing this, and I say it with all the love in the world, the experience, as terrible as it was, I knew that there was purpose in it. And it made me who I am. When I exited that relationship, over time, I found my confidence. I found my voice. I figured out that I had value, that I had something to give. And though I wish I would have learned it earlier, I wouldn't change the story, believe it or not.
I actually fully believe that.
Yeah.
And listening to, I feel bad forgetting who it was, but it was in a Tim Ferriss podcast, a gentleman talking about, if you're truly grateful, like if you truly live in gratitude, that means you're grateful for every bad experience too. Yeah. Because without that bad experience, you wouldn't have the outcome that comes from it. And
I have 2 beautiful boys from that relationship. And because I left that relationship when they were so young, I was able to give them the gift of confidence. Oh, those boys know exactly who they are. They are. They are. I was laughing because someone said, some people don't take compliments well. Compliments well. I was like, oh, my kids take compliments well because they understand who they are, and they're not, they're not over the top, but they were taught to know who they are and to know what they bring to the table and to understand their value very intentionally.
That's excellent. That is excellent that they have that confidence. You need to, and I wonder if it's something, because I feel like it's a very common phrase I hear women say, that they wish they would have had confidence younger. I wish I would have had confidence younger.
Right.
Don't know what it is. So women, if you're young women out there, have confidence now. Don't wait for later.
And realize how much it impacts your children. And I say that so importantly because, again, I wouldn't change anything because I know that everything had a purpose, but my mom really struggled with confidence. And so I know where that came from. Yeah. And so now that's why I was so intentional about pouring into my kids and making sure that they have it, because we don't realize how they're watching us, and they're gleaning everything that we do, even if they don't say it. And so I felt like I had a responsibility to model confidence and value and integrity and all of those things before my kids, because some of those things I just didn't get from observing my parents. Not that they didn't have it. I just didn't see it, in action the way that I wanted to present it to my children.
That's excellent. You changed the playlist in your mind.
Yes, absolutely.
One of my clients, she has a leadership playlist workbook, and it's basically talking about how a lot of us have a soundtrack in our mind that normally we get as children because of how we're brought up and our parents. And, you were able to change that soundtrack.
Yes.
So, and then give it to your children. So that's excellent.
For sure.
Power to you. And so you've mentioned that you have your follow-up workbook, right? Yeah. I know you have a couple other books. So what tales have you written?
I have, yes. So my first book was still when I was kind of transitioning from the staffing world into coaching. And my first actual company was a coaching company. Okay. So I have a book that's career tips, teaching people how to network for career success. And then the book that I wrote most recently is called Networking is Not a One-Night Stand.
I love that title. Yes.
And it really talks about the importance of having genuine connections and being well prepared and how to follow up effectively and all of those things. And then, of course, the Networking and Sales Planner, which really is more tactical, designed for people to be able to have a follow-up plan and gain clients as a result of their networking.
Yes, that's excellent. So we'll make sure to have all those links on the show notes on the taleswithtayler.com website.
Perfect.
And so for those who want to start writing a book, like you have 3. I feel like I've heard people who say that's like the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
And once they've written one, they're never doing it again. But you chose to do it again. So,
because I learned from people like you. If I'm putting out content consistently, I seldom have to sit down and write a book from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I took all of that content that I've been teaching for years, all those videos, all those blog posts, and I sent them to an editor, and we crafted a book based on all of that content. I didn't sit down and go, okay, once upon a time,
Yes.
I mean, did I add
there
to
once
it?
was a
Yeah,
networking
right.
event.
It was a compilation of a lot of the content I've been writing for years.
Yes.
Same thing with my networking sales handbook. I had created it because that's just how my mind works. So I created a notebook for myself that had all of these like reminders and all of these things. And I remember having it at a conference, and I just, I took it to my printer and just had it ring bound, and that was it. And somebody looks over and she goes, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's, I had it created because it helps me to remember who I met and what I should do next and all these things. And she said, can I buy that? And I was like, this is just my notebook. And she was like, you should do that. That's brilliant. And I was like,
Right.
And so once again, I just crafted it based on something I had already created. We just made it really pretty.
Nice. Yeah, you had a problem that you found your own solution
Yeah.
for, and wow, lo and behold, so
There
the
we
same
go.
people have the same problem.
Exactly.
The number of inventions that have been made that way for
Exactly.
solving problems.
Yeah. So if you're doing the work, it'll be easy, I think, to actually get the story out.
And because you mentioned that you're producing a lot of content, so where can we find your content? Where can we stay connected with you?
So I'm on all social media platforms at Tish Times, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn that way, and on YouTube as well, because I have help. Although I haven't been as consistent, I am determined this year to really make that a huge part of the kind of content that I'm creating as well. But so, connect with me on all of my platforms, and my website is tishtimes.com. I make it real easy for people to find me.
I know, right? Everything's just your name,
Yep.
Tish Times, everyone knows. Yes, and we got our bright orange, a bit of blue. What made you decide the brand color of orange?
So my first company, I had a business partner in my staffing business, and love him. He was just amazing. But he, he wanted to have those we had this dark blue and this dark maroon. And I was like, if I ever do anything on my own, I wanted something bright and vibrant. And I understand the meaning behind orange, and it's energetic and it's magnetic. And when I finally, rolled out of that company and started this business on my own, I was determined to have something that was attractive, meaning it would attract people. So when I have a vendor table at an event and I have all my orange up there, people will come just because they want to see what's going on.
And I'm sure it stands out.
Yes.
Granted, I do love blue, but I will admit,
Yeah.
there's a lot of blue out there.
There is.
Blue. Well, orange.
Yeah, for sure. And I do have a little bit of blue in my
Yes.
in my logo because my husband's favorite color is blue too. That's
There
anything
you
that
go.
blue is for Roy Times.
It does look sharp. And to me, honestly, because that was a somewhat newer addition to
Yes,
blue.
it was.
And I felt that especially that hue in dark blue gave it a nice corporate executive presence.
Yes.
And so, your retreats, these aren't, tiny. These are amazing retreats in gorgeous, locations in Arizona with private chefs. It has that executive touch where I feel that the blue was a nice touch. With that, so.
I got that. I was like, well, we'll ground the logo a little bit better this time. And that's what we've been doing for the last several years now.
Excellent. So with that, who are some of the, types of people or organizations you feel you help the most and work best with?
Yeah, so definitely business owners for sure, especially business owners who are the sales team for their company or have small sales teams and don't necessarily have someone that's training them. I'm not industry specific so much as, size of company.
Okay.
Companies that have 500 employees or less tend to be less likely to have their own sales trainers and so on in-house. I also love working with agencies. Agency models are really great because once again, they generally are the salespeople for their own organizations. So we can help them to be more effective and to put sales systems in place.
All right. And so what would be the first tip? If someone is just getting started with sales, what would be the one thing you'd say if you do this one thing, you'll just instantly get better with sales?
Put 90 minutes of business development time on your calendar daily.
90 minutes daily.
Yes.
Okay.
And in that 90 minutes, you're definitely, obviously, you're going to need to make connections. If you have 0 connections right now, that's okay. That means you just have to do some of the things we talked about before, whether it's getting out and networking, whether it's doing some social networking, not posting, actually getting into, having
being
conversations.
Actually social on social media,
absolutely.
commenting back.
Yeah.
What a concept.
And actually talking to people with the intention of getting to know them, not necessarily to sell them at that moment. And one of the things I love to do is invite people to, to networking roundtables where we're just having intimate conversations, getting to know each other. The premise of that is I'm not selling, neither are they.
Yes.
We're literally just, building a relationship, figuring out what's possible, figuring out if there's something that I can help them with or serve them with. And those types of things, again, they build trust. And when the time is right for those people, generally they'll reach back out to you. But you're going to need to be making sales calls, doing those marketing emails if necessary, making sure that you are following up with the people that you've actually connected with. But this needs to be part of your daily routine, or at least taking a day out of your week and making that your business development day. If you don't have those types of routines in place, the likelihood is that your funnel is going to dry up, your pipeline is going to dry up, and you're not going to have any sales coming in at all. That's going to be a problem.
Right. And putting them in the calendar and actually locking that calendar time is so important. Because if you don't write it down, I always say it's not real until it's written down.
It's not. Absolutely. And don't ignore it. That's the thing. People will put it on their calendar and then they give themselves permission to ignore it. So get into an accountability group of some sort.
And treat yourself like a client.
And treat yourself like a client, right? So you're not going to just bail on your client. So don't bail on yourself,
right?
On your company.
Definitely. And if you're looking for a networking organization, I know we're both a part of a networking organization, NABO, so the National Association of Women Business Owners, Phoenix chapter. And you have been very involved with the board. So do you mind maybe sharing a little bit about what you do with the board and what are some of your goals?
Absolutely. So for many years, I served as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion chair. And I still do a little bit of that because I've moved on to our community partnerships chair and really help work with other organizations. I partner with other organizations so that we can see how can NABO be of service to their organization and vice versa. And we attend events. I go to these events and I represent NABO on, with the intention of drawing more members into our organization. It's just a great organization to be a part of. I've been a part for about 8 years now here in Phoenix and longer beyond that. So I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh, so were you part of NABO back in Texas?
So there was for a very short time, there was a chapter actually in New Mexico because El Paso and Las Cruces, New Mexico are really close to each other.
Right.
And so there was a very short period of time I was a member, but that chapter just didn't last very long. So,
okay. Yeah, no, I drove through El Paso, I want to say, when I came, because I drove from Maryland and then all the way through.
Yeah, wow.
So
long drive.
It was quite a journey, and it was in a vehicle that did not have AC working.
Oh, wow.
I was 19 years old, so
my.
No AC working. My cat was panting in the passenger seat. I'm spraying her with water. It was a whole thing. I definitely cried when I was through West Virginia, wondering, am I making the right decision? And then I got excited when I was in Tennessee, and then I cry again.
I'm so sure.
A very emotional time, I didn't have my husband at the time with me, so at least you had someone else there when you came to Arizona.
Very true.
I had my cat. Carla was awesome.
Yeah.
I'll give her that. She got me through it. So thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
This was such a pleasure. I really love how you teach people about sales, that it's not selling, it's serving, that you are doing people a disservice. I love that analogy with the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a perfect picture. Because hopefully everyone is in business to make it better, to provide a solution.
Yes.
And so, if you're not sharing that solution, you're not helping people who need your help.
Very true. And shame on you.
Shame on you. So one more final time, how can we stay connected with you?
Just definitely connect with me on social media, but reach out. We do sales assessments. So if someone's kind of like, I don't know what's not working, or, I really need to figure out how to make this, a profitable business. Just go to the website and you can schedule a sales assessment right off the website. There's no cost for it. And it'll be you and me, and we'll work through the issues that you have in your sales process.
Excellent. So you have no excuses now.
Right.
Go out there and start sharing your solutions. Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.